What's good, everyone? Welcome to another reading. It's going to be a reading on Click. Now, this was inspired by the introduction I'm about to give you. I've noticed that clickbait content is one of the best things that's ever happened to us in terms of social media and content. Clickbait. It's one of the best things that's happened to us in the way that we consume things, because I realized that, well, for one, if you ever need proof of a simulation, or even the higher powers having a giggle at us, however you seem higher powers, or deem what you deem higher powers to be, the name is in the laugh is in the name. It's called clickbait. It's bait to bring you in, and you click on it. So the funny thing about even the title is they're saying that you're a fool, in the same way that you put on a piece of bait onto a fishing line and the fish actually believes that it's just a worm who got lost in the water. It's an easy meal. The title actually gives you the clue of what it's doing to you. So why this is one of the best things that's ever happened to us is because when we see clickbait, we realize that whenever we click on that, we're for one in a lower vibrational state, but we're most likely clicking on something controlled by our ego. Our ego is telling us to click on that, because if it's a clickbaity title or clickbaity imagery that's used, it's usually something playing on our lower consciousness or our ego consciousness. And not to throw shade on ego, because I'm a big fan of ego, but on our kind of lower vibrational side of ego. So when you see something that's titled just to bring you in, when it's feeding on the fact of, like how to get this, or if it's tarot, you can just see by the title that there's something in it which is just trying to draw you in. Advertising, we know that's been, just general advertising. If you're on the street or watching something, we know how that works since, not forever, but it's been going on for a long time. But clickbait specifically has changed the game, because it's allowed us to see what part of us we're functioning in. And it's even more important when it comes to spiritual content, because let's say, for example, you are seeking spiritual guidance through the internet. Can you automatically see why it's just an absolutely amazing thing that we've got clickbait content now? Because it actually reveals not only the nature of the reader, but it reveals how weak we may be at actually following our intuition. Because our intuition, as we know, as you're listening to this, we know for sure that our intuition, if you're a man, isn't when we see the big ass twerking on our screen. We're at least wise enough, most men, to go, okay, the part of me that likes that is not to do with my intuition. And if you're a woman, I don't know the examples of how they catch you, and because I'm not a woman, but let's just say if it was something like win £5,000 or if it was a tarot reading that played on just that material side of you, possibly. It could be your sexual side too. Like I said, I can't speak on that because I don't know it. But clickbait is one of the best things that social media has given us, because it's given us the ability to see others and to see ourselves and where we're acting from. If you're clicking on a video on YouTube and it's based on, that energy of the ego, instant gratification, instant love, instant manifestations, instant solutions, instant sexual dopamine rushes. It's all a direct mirror. So I kind of just wanted to give that to you, pile number 1s, 2s and 3s. If you've noticed on this channel, I've kind of stripped it back. Not like my page wasn't minimalist enough. I've stripped it back even further now. So I'm using the same font and plainness to my thumbnails. And trust me, like I said, I'm an architect, so I've got that designer flair in me. I could Photoshop the hell out of my thumbnails if I wanted to. I could make the most clickbait thumbnail you ever seen in your whole damn life with the loudest font too. I could make that font glow. I could turn that bitch into a GIF. But Spirit gave me this message to pass on to those who are listening to this, because I think there's just so much wisdom in that, and there was such a kind of a mirror and a reflection that I was able to make through seeing this and seeing how these kind of clickbait videos and pieces of content that are released on social media are just an absolute mirror. And I just want to end before I get into the reading itself. Like, this is not to belittle anyone who's doing that, or to throw direct shade on people, because I don't know who's on the other side of these videos, but it's just to bring it into your consciousness. And, even if you are playing that game of clickbait, at least understand for yourself that you're not a victim of your own game playing, because part of this reality, if we like to admit it or not, is accepting that you can't save everyone. You can spread good energy, spread positive energy, spread love, but part of accepting this reality is accepting that you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. Or I think it might even be take the horse to the well and you can't make it drink, but you can't make it drink, That is part of this reality, if you want to accept it or not. It is part of it. So I'll get into the reading now. Like I said, I hope you was able to get something from it. Pile number 1s, pile number 2s and pile number 3s. This is going to be called Click. And hopefully this is going to be just some information that helps you click. Or maybe click something within you. But by no means necessary is it obviously clickbait. We don't fuck with that around here, okay? Pile number 1s, click. It's going to be abstract, I can feel it. I'm going to change the pen actually. Hopefully some wisdom or some knowledge that's going to help something click within you. slight bit of that dragon energy there as well at that start. That reminded me of a dragon's head. Conceive like three different things. What do you see? What do you feel? So what I see. Okay, let's just mention the two things that I saw. I saw almost like a little dragon or some form of creature, and I saw like a tank, or you could say a box, uh, like a fish tank, some form like long eel or little dragon or something. And I think it would be a far stretch to say that this dragon or eel is flying out of the tank, because it doesn't give me that energy. It's not really moving. To be honest, it's quite sadly just almost dead on top of the tank. But there is an energy here of almost like thinking outside the box, you know? It could be for some of you, like this is a little bit of a darker statement, but like it could be touching on the fact that we never really know what is going on until we die. We don't really get to understand this box or this reality that we're in until we die. That could be one thing coming through. And then the other thing that was coming through is I really got like I think did I call it a troth? But it's like the box that you get in farms and stuff, and it's on these two little legs or on four legs, and it reminds me of almost like hay being inside a box, you know, like a farm. It's giving me farmer vibes. So, what animals eat hay or like that kind of wheat or grass? You might need to tell me, pal number ones. I'm not really sure. I think I could picture like horses. I picture like sheep. There's a certain types of animals. I think that's kind of your click. I think there's something in there which is like opening your eyes to something. If you've seen some of my other readings, part number ones, I always try and, despite how it might come out, I always try and let the people who are listening to me know that I'm not speaking from a perspective of higher ground. There's certain topics which I have higher ground in. There's topics which I know probably more than you in. But there's also topics that you probably know more than me in. And when I speak on certain things, I always refer to myself as there's still so many ways which I'm a sheep. There's certain things in my life which I've been able to overcome and be more of like a shepherd. But I've healed my ego enough to quite easily and openly admit that there is just so many ways in which I'm still a sheep, which I'm just following, even to a point where I'm even unconsciously following, you know? And I think for anyone who's listening to this, maybe this is your click. If you ever need to be humbled in like realizing that, just ask yourself what you're eating, you know. And I think that's even relating to here. I think that's a full circle, because we've got some people in society who they quite clearly eat garbage, fast food, processed food, etc., etc. It's quite clear for everyone to know that, okay, that food isn't good for you. And then you have the next tier, which is, like maybe a bit of good food and some bad food sometimes. And then you've got, and I'm simplifying this obviously, but then you've got the people who eat healthily. So they don't really eat any food which is considered processed or, fast food and stuff. They have a healthy diet. Let's say it's all organic. And what I noticed in society, these types of people, they tend to put themselves at the top of the hierarchy of knowledge and wisdom of food. So they're the types of people who are eating supplements, and they can tell you all about nutrition, blah blah blah. And what I realised is, I wouldn't say that I'm constantly in that frame, but there's levels more to that. And like I said, for anyone who's been on this channel for long enough, my next level of understanding that was that the person who goes to I can't remember but let's say you go to the farmer's market and you seek really good food and blah blah blah. The next level to that is you don't know where your food was grown. Right, so you're still a sheep. So people normally stop at that third one, and they start looking at other people like peasants who don't know any better, and they think they're at the top. They think they're not a sheep, but they are a sheep. Because, like I said to people, I'm quite into gardening, and quite quickly I realised, damn, like, it doesn't matter if you go into the shop and buy organic food. You don't know where that food's come from. You're still a sheep. You don't know where it's come from. And then what happens after that? So that's number 4 is now knowing that, okay, I can actually grow all of my own food, and I know exactly where it comes from. That's probably number 4. Most people aren't even close to that, to being able to produce all of their own food so they know where it's come from. And then if you've come close to that, like I said, I grow my own food when I can. It's near enough impossible when I'm in digital nomad context, but I've had a certain phase in my life where I've got to at least experience that. The 5th phase that you realise after that is, where am I growing this food? So I've grown this food, but do I really have understanding of the terrain? Because as you understand when you're growing food, you understand that the soil and the nutrition of the soil, the nutrition of the water, the nutrition of the fertilizers that you're feeding these food is everything to do with what you're digesting. Right? So I can't remember what level we're on. I think we're on level 5. So you get to that phase, and obviously when you get to realising that and the consciousness of that, you start realising, oh shit, like Zed's kind of right. He's talking about, going to the shops and just having this undying trust that just because a package says organic on it, that it's actually organic. And just because this fruit looks like it's healthy, that it actually is. You don't know what that fruit has been fed, and you don't know what soil it's been grown in. And then let's just add to this to not make it so complicated, but it's even to do with energy, right? We're on a spiritual channel here, so what energy has been in the context of that too? Who's water in that? Is it the person who hates their life putting all that energy into that watering can? Or is it the person who loves life, who's putting love and positivity into that vegetable or plant or fruit? That matters. Do you know what I'm saying? That does matter. And then the sixth phase of this is the one that's really going to slap the shit out of you. Part number ones. The sixth phase, and this is called click. So hopefully this does click with you. You're probably gonna ask yourself after you've got the right seeds, which are important, the right soil, which is important, the right water, which is important, the right person tending to that food is important. You're probably gonna go to the consciousness level 6, which is, why the hell am I eating this? Who told me that this is good for me? Who told me I should be eating this? Who told me this is the thing to eat? What if the thing that you're meant to be eating isn't even sold in the shops? And I'm not talking about your Instagram 10 nutrition tips, eat spirulina, eat omega oil, eat vitamin B2. I'm talking about, where the fuck does all this come from? Like what were your ancestors doing? Honestly, you don't even know. I don't know. What were they doing? Honestly, what was their diet like? And then you realise, shit, what book do I read to know what my ancestors were eating? Then you realise, shit, this book could be lying to me too. And you're like, shit. So you realise, shit, I'm definitely a sheep in this area of food. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm just happy that I could whack up something quick and have it for dinner. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the sheep mind that is getting served. Whatever these people in positions of power are trying to serve you, however that benefits them, it's not really about what benefits you. So hopefully, part number one's like, what you got from that was, there's this soul or person who's at level 3, who's reading content on nutrition, and who has a very clean diet. And don't get me wrong, this is a good thing, but there are levels to it. Do you know what I'm saying? There are levels to it. And, like, the moment that we think that we're not a sheep, just the universe will quickly remind us that we are, or at least there's levels to it, I think one thing to take away from this, though, is that although to an extent, near enough in everything, we're somewhat of sheeps, especially to God, how to analyze this well is, the sheep are often revealed to us in the masses, in the numbers. So a way to, if you feel like you've swallowed the humble pill enough, one thing to remind yourself is that, okay, to an extent, I'll always be somewhat of a sheep. You be a lion in different areas, but in whatever area you might say I'm a sheep. And then just kind of weigh up, where are most people though? And that'll be another revealer. Are most people at stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And what you find is that the further you go up, the less the percentages of people who are living that way. And the more signals that are revealed to you that you're maybe not part of that sheep mass. So pile number ones, I hope you was able to extract some juicy knowledge from that. Quite a fun quite a fun reading today. If you enjoyed it, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out the If You Pause website, ifyoupause.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Okay, pile number 2's click. Abstract today. What do you see? What do you feel? I think try and center that a little bit for you. Yeah, this is got no idea where this is going, but at least it's nice and literal. This reminded me of like a puddle in a light bulb in a puddle of water. Now, typically, one would say that electricity and water never go well. Now, I don't know, I'm just thinking here. Is it that they don't go well, or is it that they go really well? Because I could be wrong here, but I think the reason why people associate water and electricity is because the water is a conductor of the electricity. So if you touch the water, you're done for. But when you actually think about it, they actually go very well together. It's just it becomes dangerous for us. It makes me think that like water being a conductor of electricity, surely that is some form of technological breakthrough when used correctly. I don't know, I could be wrong, but like my Mars in Aquarius is starting to rub my chin and go, what can we invent? Another thing that I wanted, maybe that's your click, file number 2's. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is that it reminds me of the water being emotions and the electricity being the idea. I feel like pile number 2's a quick reading for you, really, because I climbed a damn mountain with pile number 1's. You might want to check it out if it resonated with you. But this is reminding me of like spirit giving you the tap, pile number 2's. No pun intended with tap. Like I meant tap on the shoulder, not tap through water. But like a tap to say, in your emotions lies great ideas. You know? Reminds me a little bit of the Jean energy, Jean Grey in X-Men. For my comic nerds out there. It's the emotions or the psychic having great power, great ideas. I'm almost getting pile number 2's, this might trigger you, but like in your sadder moments as well, spirit is trying to remind you that in your sadder moments there's maybe something that like I'm getting there's something that maybe happens to your body which allows ideas to channel better. You might want to pay attention to that. it's a little bit like I don't know why Spirit's giving me this, but you know, a swimming pool, especially like a public one, you have the shallow side for the kids and then the deeper side for the adults. When you think about that as an analogy, or a metaphor, it actually makes sense that way too. You know, like the children play in the shallow end. The children play with shallow emotions, shallow ideas, shallow thoughts, but the adults play with deeper emotions, deeper thoughts, deeper ideas. Um, I'm not sure if that was making sense to you, part twos, but kind of that's what Spirit wanted to kind of just pass on to you. Like, I think part of your click as well is coming from when you go down deep in the adult side of the pool. You know, that's when you get these moments. But you can only kind of realize that when it's played back to you, because when you're in these darker moments, you're kind of in survival mode. Or at least for me, sometimes that's how it feels for me. You kind of go into something a bit more primal, fight or flight, as they say. Poll number 2s. Thank you for being here. I hope you was able to pull out some wisdom from the reading today. If you were, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out the If You Pause website, ifyoupause.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Okay, poll number 3 is your click. It's going to be fairly abstract today. Brace yourself. What do you see? What do you feel? Cool. Initially, I was kind of seeing a brain, yeah, like the left and the right side of the brain. But I'm kind of seeing now like a nut cracking open. It's funny because there's almost a similarity or a link between click and crack open. It's like to click on and to crack open. Not sure, can you like hear that vibrationally? Pile number 3 is like to click on, to crack open. Like vibrationally, I could almost turn that into a rap. You know, it feels like it flows. To click on, to crack open. You know, I almost want to rhyme to that. So I think there's some form of like meeting together just even in that. We've got something going on here with the left and the right as well. Could be the left and the right brain. This would be the left brain. That would be the right brain. I'm not sure if Spirit is trying to say here that maybe the left brain, I feel that's maybe more active and this is more quiet. I'm not really sure how that applies to you. It might be like active and quiet, or toxic and clear, or polluted and clear. It could be messy and clean. It could be strong and weak. Do you understand? I don't really know how that fits for you, but you might just want to sit on that and see what resonates. But there's something left and right brain going on here. I think your click is to do with understanding this, like your left and right brain, basically. And even with the nut, it's like what's inside. Guess you, but like what's. I'm getting like metaphors of to do with like balance here too. So maybe there's something that needs to be balanced out. Because I tell you why this is coming through. It's coming through in a way which is like whatever's going on in here and whatever's going on in here depends on how the nut is gonna look. How it's gonna that's gonna decide what's inside. So someone who trains this side of the brain and doesn't train this side of the brain is gonna have a different type of nut inside. Someone who trains this side of the brain and not this side of the brain is going to have a different nut inside. So that spirit is maybe telling you that you do have some form of control of how you make that nut look inside. And if I'm losing you with that, just kind of imagine the shell of the nut like being the left and the right brain and comparing it to like a weak side of the shell and a strong side. That means when it grows, it's the shell might impact how the brain or the nut actually looks inside. A healthier side and a not so healthy side will impact how, this is obviously marginal, but maybe how that nut might taste on that one side to the other. It reminds me of like the good side and the bad side of a piece of fruit. I do feel like some of us are more prone to be on one side of the brain than the other. So this isn't like trying to tell everyone that you should be balanced completely. Because I think some people are just more comfortable or more like destined to be on one side more than the other. But there's maybe just something here where Spirit is trying to remind you, even if you're not changing anything, to at least understand it. At least understand like why you're that way. It's even touching into the masculine and feminine energy as well. Like it reminds me, like the left and the right side, it reminds me of when I really started to understand my parents better and even possibly my family, but mainly my parents, like, the man and the woman who made you, or woman and man, however you prefer. But when you understand those two people, you will start to understand more on yourself. And when you try and understand those characters equally, you will understand yourself more equally. It's if you're in the energy of like the mother is the angel and the father is the devil, or the father is the angel and the mother is the devil, you're looking for a disaster real quick. You probably want to be more in the energy of the mother is an angel and a devil, and my father is an angel and a devil too, But again, that's at least for me. I'm not saying I've got all the answers here, but at least that was a extremely more positive change in me when I was able to see things that way. I think as children it's a little bit harder to do this, but as adults we can. So, part number 3 is that's your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took some knowledge from it. If you did, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the If You Pause website, ifyoupause.com, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.